Hi, I'm Tereza with PotomacBeads Company Europe, and today I'm going to show you how to make this barrel bangle. For the list of the materials I used for this bangle, head down below the video into the description box. There you find the materials I used and the colors I used, which I will be stating in the end of the video as well. If you want to bead along with me, you will need wildfire and size 10 needle. I already prepared my wildfire. I cut arm span long piece of thread and thread it into my needle with the help of my pliers. If you don't know how to thread the needle with wildfire, especially if you're using size 12 needle or size 11, which you might need here as well in some connections between these little barrels, head into the search in our YouTube channel and watch Ellie's videos how to thread the needle. She's giving awesome and helpful tricks how to do that. It helps even me. So I have my thread ready, and now I will be making this bangle. You can also do a bracelet if you would like to include some pretty clasp. I also recommend using Potomac clasp. We have our own exclusives, or clasp garden clasps, which are always the top quality, and they also make our clasps. But here I went for the no clasp option, because in the summer I like to just put the bangle on, you know, fast, quickly, and go. So this is the bangle version. In this video I will teach you, or we will be working with the cross stitch, which is here in the connections between the between the barrels, and these parts I call, of course, the barrel, and they are made from our StormDuo beads and IrisDuo beads. And there's also in the beginning and in the end there's a DROPDUO beads. Between them there's MIYUKI, 11/0 and 15/0 seed beads, of course. And we will start with cross stitch in these connections, and we will then we will continue with peyote stitch, and I will teach you how to use them both at the same time. I would not recommend this tutorial for complete CRAW beginners. If you are a CRAW beginner, you don't know how to use cross stitch, which is in other words cubic, or cubic right angle weave stitch. Again, watch Ellie's video. She's teaching their cross stitch for beginners, just some basics, and she explains it amazingly, so I would recommend watching it first. So for my next bangle, we will start between two barrels. We'll start with the cross stitch and then move over to the barrel. As you can see, I have 15/0. I'm starting with 15/0, moving over to 11/0, DROPDUOs, StormDuo and IrisDuo, and continue like this. So for the beginning, I will put 1 15/0 and 3 11/0 on my needle and slide it down over to the end of my thread. I will leave a piece, a tail end, and then I will go through the 15/0 and through all beads again, and then through the 15/0 one more time. This is the start of the cross stitch, or just a raw stitch as well. So we have a little clover from 4 beads. Now I will continue with the cross, so I will move over to the next bead. And the classical CRAW is made usually from 4 little segments. In this bangle I am making the CRAW from 6 segments, so I could make this barrel. So just a heads up, I will be adding more beads than usual, but anyway it's still CRAW. So I added 1 11-0, second one, and 1 15-0. And now I will go to the 11-0 from the previous segment. And pull tight. Now I have 2 segments. I need 4 more. And I will go, and to add more segments I will get through this second and third 11-0. If you know cross stitch, this is nothing new to you. That's why I said watch it first. Again, I will add 1 15-0 and 2 11-0s and go back through this 11-0. Pull tight. To add another segment, I need to get to the 11-0 on the opposite side. Again, pull tight. Now it's looking like this. Again, 2 11-0s, 1 15-0, and through this 11-0 again. And back to the 11-0 on the opposite side. Now I will add 5th segment. See, I have 1 2 3 4 segments, so now I will be adding the 5th one. So pick 1 15-0 and 2 11-0s and go to the 11-0 we started from. And now to the final segment. Now I need to connect it and close the circle, so I will fold it, and now it's time for 1 11-0, just one. I won't be picking the second one because it's this one from the opposite side. And now 1 15-0, and again I will go to the bead I have started from, and I will pull tight. Now it's not very aesthetically pleasing, I must say, but wait for it, it will get better. So now if you have done everything right, you should have 6 little tips from 11-0s. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Of course 6 tips from 15-0s on the other side. Just move it a bit and pull the thread tight. And now we will be moving over to the DROPDUO and adding the DROPDUO and making the first barrel. So to add the first barrel, go to the tip of this segment, in a cross stitch. Now you would go through these all 6 of them, but since we are adding bigger beads, I don't recommend doing it because then the DROPDUO wouldn't behave the way we want it to behave. So don't go through all 6 of them, and instead pick DROPDUO through this thinner part, through the tip, and go to the next 11-0 which is the tip of the second segment, and pull tight. Again, do this thing with another DROPDUO. Of course, look through the holes if they are clear, so you don't have to break your bangle and go back in your work. Pull tight. Third DROPDUO, checking the upper hole as well. Fourth. Fifth. I'm using White Lila Begaluster DROPDUO. And sixth one. And now we will be switching from CRAW to Peyote. So in Peyote, to get to the next row, you will go through the first bead you edit in your current row as well, to finish this row and to get to the next one. But we are using 2-hole bead, which means we need to get to the upper hole as well. Your work should look like a little flower. The tips of the DROPDUO needs to point inside of your little tube, and these little rounds, these round parts should point outside. So now go to the upper hole. And it's time for StormDuo. With the StormDuo, it's important to distinguish from which side, from which rotation you will be picking up the actual bead. As you see, the bead has a small shape. The bead has, S shape. So from this point now on, it's very difficult to alternate the rotation, because if you wouldn't do it differently, then the design won't be the same. So I will start picking the StormDuo from the smaller side, from the little curve of the S. So I will pick my first bead and I will go to the next upper hole of the next DROPDUO. And my second StormDuo I will pick from the other side, which means from the bigger part, from the back side of the S, and go to the next DROPDUO as well. So now you see they are mirror-like. The next StormDuo, since they are alternating the rotation, then again I will pick it from the smaller side. So now these two StormDuos look like they are hugging the DROPDUO. My fourth DROPDUO I will pick from the back side. Now the next one from the small side. And the last one from the bigger side. I will go to the DROPDUO, and since it's peyote, to the first StormDuo as well. Now you can check it that the two StormDuos next to each other, they have different rotation. So these two are hugging this DROPDUO, these two are hugging this DROPDUO, and these two are hugging this DROPDUO. Again, we will need to go up, so I will go to the second StormDuo, to the second hole of this StormDuo. And now the two beads which are hugging the DROPDUO, so here I will put one 15 seed bead, so 1 15 and I will go to the next StormDuo. So now the back sides of this S are connected with the 15. Now I will need one IrisDuo, and you will need to thread it the way that the puffed side is up. So I will go through from the left side to the right side of the bead, and I will go to the upper hole of the next StormDuo. So now these two which were connected with the DROPDUO with the bigger side are with the smaller side hugging the IrisDuo. And we will be again alternating 15s and IrisDuos. So now I picked one 15 and I will go to the next StormDuo. Now it's time for an IrisDuo again, so I will go through the first hole, checking that the puffed side is up, pulling the thread. Again, the StormDuo is hugging the IrisDuo. 1 15 this time. And one IrisDuo, and this will be the last bead in this row. So go through the StormDuo, and again now it's the peyote part to get to the next row, which means you will need to go to the upper holes of those IrisDuo, which is only possible if you get through the next 15, next StormDuo, and the next IrisDuo. Don't forget to pull tight. And now when you are in the first hole of the next IrisDuo, go up to the next hole. Now we will be adding StormDuos and MIYUKI 15s, and watch out again for the rotation. So here you see that the smaller parts, the curves of the S are hugging the IrisDuo, so you want to follow that again with this row. So I'm going through the curve of the S first, then picking up 1 15, and then picking up StormDuo from the bigger side. So now they are mirror-like, and I'm going to the upper hole of the next IrisDuo. So now my work is looking like this. Again, pull tight and pick another StormDuo from the smaller side, from the inside, then 15, and StormDuo from the outside, and go through the next upper hole of your IrisDuo. And for the last time, StormDuo from the inside, 15, and StormDuo from the outside, and go to the upper hole of this IrisDuo, And now to go to the next row, I will go through the next StormDuo through the lower hole, and now I will go up through the same StormDuo to the second hole, pull tight. Again, you have something like a little flower from StormDuos. Now we will be closing the first barrel with DROPDUO again. This time though, start picking up the DROPDUO with the wider side. So I'm going through the first hole and to the next StormDuo. As you can see, I didn't check my holes, but I think I can, yeah, use the needle and get the glass out. Another DROPDUO. Sometimes it's possible to clean out the hole. Sometimes it's not, because sometimes the hole can be completely missing. Then that's a problem, and you need to go back and take out the bead and start again. So that's why it's good to check the holes, which I'm not doing now. Fifth DROPDUO. And the last one. We are still doing peyote in this point, so I will go through the DROPDUO, the first one we edit in this row, and then pull tight and then go up through its second hole. Now move all the tips of the DROPDUO inside of the barrel, so they are pointing inside, and we will be adding one MIYUKI 11-0 between the upper holes of the DROPDUOs. So first, second, I'm pulling tight because they are quite big beads, not seed beads of course, so it's difficult not to have the thread showing. Four, 5, and 6, and go to the last DROPDUO, and through the first MIYUKI 11-0 we just added as well, and pull tight. Now I will continue with the connecting part, so we will switch again to the cross stitch. So this time pick one 11-0, one 15-0, and one 11-0, and go back through the same bead to create the first segment of our CRAW, like this. Then go through the little arm of the segment, so through the 15-0, pick one, through the 11-0. Now pick one 15-0, one 11-0, and go through the next 11 row between the drop duos and close the segment with going through the 11 row you have started from. We have second segment now. We are moving over to adding the third one, so I will go through to the 11 row, and now I need to go through the 11 row between drop duos, adding one 11 row and one 15 row, and going through the bead from the previous segment and through this 11 row between drop duos, closing third segment. Now going to the 11 row to add the fourth one. Again, this is CRAW. Watch Ellie's CRAW video if you are struggling, because I'm not explaining the way the thread is going through all the beads, because it's changing its direction all the time. So maybe for some people it might be a bit challenging to do it like this for the first time. But each segment has the basic rule of 4 beads, and we have 6 segments. So I picked 15 row and 11 row. I'm going through the 11 row between 15 rows, back to the bead from the previous segment. Now I want to add the next one, so I will have to go to this 11 row bead, now I need to go through this bead, add 11 row and 15 row, go through the bead from previous segment, through the 11 row between drop duos, and now I have 5 segments, and I will need to close the circle with the 6th one. So we have already our 3 11 rows here, so I will need to pick only one 15 row, and I will go through this 11 row, this one, and this one, and now we have all 6 segments. Now it's time for the actual cross stitch, so I will go through all those 15 rows to connect them. Now I have a nice little circle, and now we will be adding again 6 segments, just like we did here, but with only 15 rows, which will make this thin parts between the barrels. So my thread is going out of one 15 row, one of the tips. Now I will add 3 15 rows and go from the opposite side through the same bead. Now you can struggle a bit with the 10 size needle, which I have. So sometimes when I have difficulties to go through the bead, I use pliers to help me to get through the bead, but you don't want to break the bead, so don't use too much strength, and better switch to the size 12 or size 11 needle. So I managed this time. So I have the first segment. I need to go to this bead to add the next one. I'm adding 2 15 rows, going through the next 15 row we added in previous row, and here to close the segment. Now we have 2 of them. I will need to get here to add the third one, As you can see, the first barrel can be a bit loose. In the next ones it's much better, so don't worry. And a bit of loose is also not that bad, so it's okay. I will go through the third tip. Add 2 15-0s and close the segment. Go through this bead to add another segment. 1 2 15-0s through the tip from the previous row. Add the 5th segment. 1 2 15-0s, close the 5th segment. Yes. And now again we are closing the 6th segment. We already have our 1 2 3 beads, so we will need to thread only 1 15-0 and go through these 3 15-0s. I know it's not very visible in the camera, but if you know CRAW, you know what I'm talking about. So now I have the 6 segments, and again I will close this row by going through all the tips made from the 15-0s. Like this. This makes the tube of the tube made with CRAW actually very nice and thick. So I recommend doing that, because when I was starting with beading I always forgot about this step, and then it looked weird, and since then I didn't like CRAW at all, but now I learned and I'm a better beader. Now I need to move over to the next row by adding more 11-0s. So now I pick 3 11-0s and I will go again through the 15-0 from the opposite side. Again, it might be a bit struggle with the size 10 needle, but so far I have managed. Then up through this bead, because I want to add another segment, which means I need to pick 2 11-0s and go through the 15-0. Up to close the segment and move over to this bead and to add another segment. It's a bit repetitive. If you get the hang of it, there's nothing too much difficult about it. I understand CRAW can be a bit confusing, but if you understand that the segment is from 4 beads and you know what to search for in your pattern, then it can be fun. And it's a rather nice stitch, to be honest. It has a lot of possibilities. It can be easily mixed with peyote, as you can see here, or even herringbone or other stitches. It can make complicatedly looking designs, although it's just a mixture of two stitches. I'm still continuing in my work. There's nothing new. I'm in each step adding 2 11/0s and continuing with the CRAW. Yeah, I have added 5th segment, so I need to close the 6th one where I add only 1 11/0 because I already have here all the beads already, and like this. And this is the little neck, maybe we could call it, the connection between two barrels. Now I will again add the DROPDUO, and then the work is the same like we did here. So continue adding the barrels and the connectors until you reach your length you need, and then I will get back to you and we will connect those ends and finish the bangle. I have finished my 9 barrels. Now the last thing that needs to be done is to connect these two, the first one and the last one. I stopped at this point, so now I have to add 1 row of the 11/0s together with the 15/0 MIYUKI tips, and then basically I have to do this, the thing we started with, and then I need to connect them with the last row. So you know this drill already, so 1 11/0, 15/0, 11/0. For the first segment, 15/0, 11/0 for the second one. Third one as well. For me, 9 barrels work. For you, depends on the size of your wrist and, to be honest, on your fist, if you are able to pull the bracelet over your thumb and other fingers. So try it out carefully a few times if you think when you connect it, if it can slide over. I even did it that I connected it with a few stitches, tried that out, and then when I was sure it's okay, then I finished it. So if it wouldn't be okay, I would just take out those beads and either add 1 more barrel, like a whole one, or although it won't be symmetrical, you can add few rows of the 15/0s if you think just like a half a centimeter would be okay. So just 1 or 2, or just add the clasp. Now I finished the 6th segment and I will go to the tip of the 15/0. Now the only thing that you need to watch out for is that your IrisDuos are still in the line even after you connect both sides. So you want to be sure that it's so that because when you twist the bracelet there will be some tension, and maybe in the future, I don't think it will break, but it won't work that nicely. So I'm just looking for the correct 15 on the other side. And for me it worked out luckily, because for me the one I want to connect it with is this, of course this one where my thread is coming out, and this one where the tail end is coming out. I'm not sure if it will work out like this for you, but for me it's like this. Let me check it one more time. Just run your finger through the axis, through the line. So for me it's this line of the StormDuos, and yet it's like that. It really is the bead with the tail end. So now we will start, because when you start a CRAW we always edit 3 beads, right? Now you need only 2 because the third one is already here. So pick 1/15, go through the bead on the opposite side, pick 1/15 and go back to the bead you started from. Now it's a bit confusing again, of course, as the ends always are. I will make a space for me. And if you can see it, now we connected it, the segment again. 1, 2, 3, 4 beads and pull. Also be sure that you pick the right bead and didn't twist the bracelet in the meantime. Good, for me it works. So now I will continue adding those beads, basically to continue like always, as always. So go to the bead on the side, then next bead to pick up is this one, then 1/15. We don't even need 2, just 1, because we already have 3 beads for the segment, which is already here and here, and pull tight. Run through them, close the segment, and here to add another one. I will pull for both ends. Great. Continue to the third segment. Again, add only 1/15. Close the segment. Now I'm already using size 12, just to be sure not to break any beads. You don't have to, especially when you are working with 15s from Toho, not MIYUKI. But just to be sure, I switched to size 12. So fourth segment. Fifth one. And Yeah. Now we just need to close these 4. So we in the 6th segment, of course, we already have all beads here, so we won't add anything. So just close 1, 2, 3, these 4 beads together, which is the 6th segment. And the last bead. Yes, like this. Because it was a start, I see that I like the step when we go through all the tips. So I will complete it and go through all of them. Just connecting the 15 O's. The usual cross step. Come on. Nice. Now I will knot off somewhere the ends. Use my thread zap to burn off the tips, and the barrel bangle is done. So both of my bangles are done and pretty, and as I said in the beginning, I will mention the colors I used. So for this silvery blue color combination, I used for IrisDuo Marine Metallic Ice color, for StormDuo the Metallic Sea Blue color. You need 2 tubes of those. It's like 1 tube and this, it's not even a half, so you will have a lot as a leftover. For IrisDuo it's just 1 tube. For DROPDUO it's of course Crystal Labrador full, also 1 tube is okay. 11 O's as also Crystal Labrador full, MIYUKI seed beads. For 15 O's I went also for MIYUKI and Crystal Silver Rainbow was the color, and Wildfire was gray, not green, so I thought I would rather choose gray instead of green for this color combination. Green I used for the second one. There the IrisDuo is White Lilac Gold Luster. StormDuo is Aztec Gold. DROPDUO White Lilac Vega Luster. And 11 O's are MIYUKI Vintage Copper. And for the 15 O's, my all-time favorite, the MIYUKI Metallic Mix. I like chip coatings on MIYUKI seed beads. They work together great with the check glass shapes, so that's my go-to. Then I also use my thread zap, size 10 and 12 needles, my pliers, and that is all. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you had fun making this bangle. As I said, you can use clasp, make it as a bracelet. You can even have fun and make it longer as a necklace. You can make this component as an earring. I just leave it up to you what will be your fantasy and what will you come up with. You can share your results or anything else from Be The Word. in our Facebook community. We have a great group called Beading and Jewelry Making on Facebook. There are many people who enjoy beading or other kind of beading, jewelry making, sorry. So join us there, and you can purchase all supplies from PotomacBeads.com or PotomacBeads.eu. And thank you very much for watching, and happy beading!